Hi, I'm Charles Herbert Hawley. Here is what I'd like you to remember about me. I was born on May 23, 1934 in Dr. Coogan's home in Hancock, Wisconsin. Charles Justin Meneguz, also known as Charlie, was my maternal grandfather. And Herbert Watts Hawley was my paternal grandfather, and that is how I came by the name, Charles Herbert Hawley. My first actual memory was when Margie was sick with scarlet fever and I was very upset. It was probably the first time I realized that Mom and Dad were worried, so I was worried too. I probably was around 3 years old. When I was to start the first grade at Hancock Elementary School, my dad bought me a special hat to encourage me to go to school on that first day. I still did not want to go to school because I now was so self-conscious of this new hat. In fact, I just plain did not want to go to school. I was afraid. I was never comfortable around people and always preferred the outdoors, away from crowds. Here is a picture of the three little ones as we were often referred to, Marjorie and Rita Marie, and me, Charles. My favorite Christmas holiday that I remember was in December 1943. On this special Christmas, Santa gave me a toy train set. I would lay by that train set and constantly create little tunnels and things that the train could go over, under and through. I imagined places this train would take me and all the high adventures connected with it. My oldest brother, Junior, got really mad at me one time when I was around 11 or 12. I do not remember how or why he got angry, but I ran away from him as fast as my feet could carry me. Because I was so small, I could run up the stairs faster than he could, and so up I went and into my bedroom where I quickly locked the door. Junior was so angry that he kicked the door down. I was so scared of him that I ducked out the window that went onto the roof over the screened porch. He started to follow me out there, so I jumped off the porch and ran away and hid in the bushes. Junior then got into his car and started to look for me. I could see his car from my vantage point in the bushes, but I moved around to stay hidden as his car approached the house. I eventually returned home, but I was still afraid of Junior. Everyone else in the family acted as nothing had ever happened. Exploring the villas park and zoo was my favorite thing to do. It was such fun to climb the trees and venture out on a limb out over Lake Wingra. I could lay there on that limb forever and watch all the critters in the lake and on the shore. All I had to do was be very quiet and the wildlife would come out of their hiding places and carry out their routines for the day. The fish were fascinating to me too. I always dreamed about catching that big one that I had spotted on that tree limb. That is probably why I was so intrigued with fishing in my teens. I liked to play football or baseball in the side street by our house. We did not go down to the park for that sporty kind of thing. One time, Mom and Dad gave me a bow and arrow set for Christmas and I loved it. I read up on how to make arrows and made many of my own. It is quite a chore to make an arrow correctly with the feathers in the exact position to make the arrow fly true and straight. I spent many hours doing just that. Traveling to Michigan's Upper Peninsula and staying with our grandparents Meneguz for the summer is one of my fondest memories. I loved it up there. We had many cousins up there in Michigan and they were always fun to be around. Edwin Hawkins, Jimmy Borseth and Roger and Roland Meneguz were always around and about the same age as me. All of us would hike in the woods and swim, explore the Meneguz farm and just do boy things. I did not want to come home. It was then that I vowed to live up in the North Country someday. The move to California was very difficult for me. I was very shy and did not make friends easily. Frankly, I was quite miserable. I could hardly wait to get back to Wisconsin someday. Dad tried to make the trip out west both educational and pleasant, a trip to remember. He really did just that. Margie and I have made an accurate account of that trip west. Here is a picture of our family at a trailer park in Merced, California, not one of my fondest memories. I developed an interest in photography and earned money developing pictures for people during my senior year at San Bernardino High School. I was taking photography classes and really enjoyed the work. I had set up a dark room to develop pictures in the trailer and had a good little business going. Here is a picture of me in our little trailer in San Bernardino, California. Upon high school graduation in June 1952, I vowed that I would move back to Wisconsin as soon as possible. Our dad passed on December 12, 1952 as the result of a heart attack. I was with him almost to the last. I enlisted in the Air Force in December 1953 and flew on my very first airplane flight to San Antonio, Texas for basic training. While in the Air Force, I volunteered for airborne training, in other words, jumping out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute. I did not realize that you should never volunteer for anything. I found out early on that I did not weigh nearly enough and the wind would take me miles and miles from the designated drop zone. The last straw was when I received whiplash as I jumped from the plane and it knocked me out. I landed in water, which thankfully revived me, but it really scared me, and my senior officer as well. So, I withdrew from that program. Some of my time in the Air Force was spent at Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. I was a guided missile technician. I worked on Sidewinder missiles and the Matador air-to-ground missile to name just a few. It was all top-secret stuff at the time and paved the way for what we see today. Joanne Hawley, Ralph's wife, had given my address to a local paper in Green Bay, Wisconsin, saying that I was interested in a pen-pal relationship. It sure was nice receiving mail from young ladies in Wisconsin. Over time, my favorite correspondent, Gloria, and I decided to meet in Wisconsin. It was love at first sight. We made plans to be married in Wisconsin in September 1955. We married on September 17, 1955 in Dykesville, Wisconsin at the St. Louis Catholic Church. Joanne and Ralph, June and Al, Rita and Johnny, my grandmother Augusta, and many others attended. What a glorious day! I left the Air Force in 1957 and we settled on a farm near Green Bay, Wisconsin, where I took up carpentry and woodworking as my vocation. I was published in our local paper where the headline read, "Choice of Woods Chooses His Project." I also continued working at my first love, photography and painting, and painted many pieces of art that reflected my love of nature and the backwoods of Wisconsin. Gloria and I had 7 beautiful children, Robin, Rabina, Ramona, Rodney, Raymond, Rena and Rana. We are very proud of all of their accomplishments. After over 40 years of marriage, the love of my life passed away. She was truly my inspiration and my guiding light. I miss her to this very day. Well, that is all for now. I hope you have enjoyed this short video montage of my life and times. Stay tuned, as I will likely narrate another short story down the road a bit.